ukuba ngumama ngenxa yobunzima. Yazi okokuba noba kunzima namhlanje akuzokufana nangomso. Akuzokufana nangomso.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Uncomfortable Conversations with myself, Thembisile Khumalo. This week I bring you a special feature from my sister, Busi Khumalo, who will be sharing her encounters of what transpired on the 25th of March 2018. She will be bringing her version of the uncomfortable conversations.
My name is Busi.
I hope you enjoy.
Sister, one of her many sisters. I'll be talking about the events of the 28th of, not the 28th, see, I don't even know the date. It's that bad. Anyway, so I'll be talking about the day that my dad passed and my recollection of it. And it will be here and there because it's mostly just flashbacks of everything. So I'll be talking on what I remember personally. So anyway, I was in Nyanga at my mom's home, so her parents' home. Yeah. Okay, so we were talking with Mama Nojeki. There's Uleta and just some other cousins and family members, but mostly I'm talking with Ojeki and mom and letters there. And I'm wanting to go home that day. I had just come from church. And there's some traditional things that we had done with Udata that had been irritating me and worrying me. And I didn't really know what it meant, but I felt stuff that day at church. But I didn't know what to do, I didn't know who to tell, so I told my mom, and I expected her to know what to do, and she just said that and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So I chilled outside. I was very, very uneasy that day, wanting to go home the whole day, but I was unable to go home. So I chilled with my mom, that I remember specifically my position was I was lying on a single bed on my side. Just a bra on, no shoes, and a jean. I still remember the specific jean that I was wearing. My phone rings. Oh, mama. And I answered it. So my sister sounds like she's giggling on the other side. So I'm like, don't lolo. She sounds like she's fucking giggling. She always does that. She calls and giggles and says stuff. So I expected that. Utata mazi uphi. That's lolo tini. Call the police. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know anything yet. So I throw myself I was on the bed, but I threw myself somehow on the bed still. And my mom says, no, sisi kaloku akathethwa nto uthembisile utheni that uthi kuyadudulwa phandle. Kaloku sisi akakathethwa nto, maybe utata kuye esibhedlele, maybe right. So I collected myself, tried, ndabaleka ndayebheka. I went to one of my good cousins. I asked him to drive me home because this and that. So he said, but I'll do my best. So I just begged. I remember Timbi had said that, I'm a police. So at times. So Sister Zoelisha now, and I'm getting into the car before the second phone call from my sister. Okay, Ucheki gets in, Malungu Prangani gets in, Uleta gets in the car, Wangi drives, I get into the front. And the second call comes in, and Utembe calls and she says, and I figured in my heart that was her way of saying that's it. Utata is no more. But to my mind, I thought she couldn't say it to me directly, so she just said that's what that is, knowing that I would know what that means. So in my mind, I'm thinking, Haibo, Jani, inobutatu libele gate, ivuliwe. Inobutatu tujule ngasepulin, like I had pictured it in my whole head, being ngasepulin. That was the picture in my whole head, that Udata weighing ngasepulini and everything is happening inside the yard and Tembi's alone and there's no one there, but probably not about toilet, but still, she's alone. So in that very moment, I remember specifically the phone was in my right hand. So it was over here. And I remember throwing the phone back and just crying my whole chest out, hoping that some God would hear my prayer. And I realized that no man did no mama up. Mama ngene emotweni izosijonga kaloku utata uswelekile so thina ulolu hleli yedwa. And I distinctively remember my mom taking 2 steps back from the car that I was in, crying because my dad had passed. Mama ngene emotweni, mama ndiyacela ungene emotweni. Chiki also asked mama, uthi ubusi cela ungene emotweni, ucela umkhaphe. My mother said nothing. She didn't apologize for my dad passing. She didn't hug me. She didn't touch me. And she didn't come with. And at the time I thought, Mama is in shock. Utata has passed. But Mutadam lo swelekileyo, she's my mother. I know that she might have been going through something, whatever it was, but what about me? I'm her last born. Uzawuthini kuThemba, uzawuthini kuThembisile, uzawuthini kuJabu. Xa engakwazi uhoya lo wokugqibela esithi mama ndicela sihambe siyojonga umzimba katata. Together, I wanted to arrive with my mother. Phezu kotata, ndizoba nomntu wondithuthuzela because I know how I get. I don't remember seeing her crying. I don't remember seeing her in shock that uswelekile ubani, whoever that might be. But I mean, at the time, I wasn't in my full mindset, so I thought, okay, mama shegendlini. And go to him. So on the drive there, I say, Masame tatanu chabe kukuletu. Ne? To my mind, I know that Temi had already called Jabu, but I just did not want to go home. I wanted to prolong it as long as I could. So we went to Jabu, and Umalume says in the back, ayikho into esizoyenza apha, ayikho lento siyenza sengomntana, tensimamela lo mntana, miyeke nomntana sanuva ngaye, and that makes sense because I wasn't in my right mind. So on the way here, I was crying the whole way, screaming for my dad. Ujeke nthuthuzela ekhala, umalume nthuthuzela, and uwanki was just trying his best shame to drive, I swear. And we got here finally, and there was a lot of people. There was really a lot of people, but there was no one to me. I saw the people, but they weren't there. So I ran between the people, and I swear people just like a movie made space for me. I think they knew Baksekaya, or they saw the emotion or something, but people just made way for me. And I ran to my dad. Barefoot. I had put a top on in the car. Someone had brought a top for me. I put the top on inside the car, and as soon as I got to my dad, I knelt next to Dada and I touched him. I had never in my life seen my dad that still. Uthule Dad. Even when he was asleep, Dad would never be that still. Dad was just never still. He was always awake. Like when you'd walk into a room, Dada would be awake. Even if he was sleeping, you would know that Dada can hear me. You'd say what you need to say and leave. So I knew that Dada was too still. So to my mind, my dad would do anything if I begged, and he saw that I needed him to do what I'm begging him to do at the moment. So I said, Dada, ndiyacela. Ngenhliziyo yami yonke, ndiyacela ngicela uvuke Dada. Dada, please wake up. Sizothini Dada, vuka Dada. But it was more personal than usizothini. It was ndizothini Dada. Dada ngicela uvuke. All the time I'm holding his body in my arms and I can feel that Dada akazuvuka. So I lay there next to his body and I hugged my dad so hard for the last time. because I knew I'd never be able to hug him again. So I hugged Udada and I hugged on him, and I remember it was happening in the background, but it was happening to me. It was almost like an out-of-body experience where the people just came, like they sort of tugged me off Udada, and I was holding onto him for dear life. And then Utembi came and she said, Megan Udada, let her do what she wants, let her finish. And I swear I'm grateful to those words till this day, because I needed that moment to feel that Udada ngoku tata makekho, tata undishiyile ngoku, andisuke emzimbeni katata, tata akasekho. So I moved. As I was moving away from my body, as I was moving from my dad's body, I walked in the house. I sat inside for a while, hearing all the commotion, hearing everything that was happening. And all of a sudden, I see my sister Utembi in the corner of my eye passing. So I get up. At this point, my eyes are swollen, but I'm not crying anymore because there's literally nothing left to cry. There's no tears. So I go to the door. So I just stand there, and through the gate I see Utembi is Jola Ujabu on the street, and I don't know whether they fell or Ujabu sat, or they fell together, or Ujabu sat and caught Utembi on the floor, but they were just on the floor crying. Utembi kwazi Ujabu etutuzela. I'm thinking, no, but I have to be there. Tutuzela holds me, and I get why she didn't want me to go there. So I just watch Utemsili crying on Ujabu's lap on the floor, and remember, it's packed. So in my mind, I'm picturing yo Susofota, yo Nambendeli please go dada, yo, this is gonna be a thing. And another thing I'm grateful about more than anything, I have to say this, Kabantu Basemandalei. Wow, Abantu Basemandalei. I don't remember seeing a picture of my dad's body. I don't remember seeing a picture of my dad or us or anything that we had done on that day on social media, not even at all. I remember seeing a post, that's all I remember, because I had went to Imandalei page to check what's going on, and there was nothing there. So now it's later in the day now, and all of a sudden I hear that my mom is here, and in all honesty, it was a damn relief that my mom had got here, because mama, mama, you know, I don't know if anyone would understand that, but nangu mama, umkilu tata, but nangu mama, you know. And if you can imagine that, imagine saying imagine that emotional attachment you'd have to that parent. Imagine how much more you'd need Lamzali than you'd ever did before. Regardless of anything, to my mind. And she walked in. But she still wasn't there. She walked in, but she still was not there. I mean, that was okay for a while because there was so many people to hug on me, to comfort me. Wow, I need to say this, guys. Y'all need to stop with that bullshit. That guys are so much. And It's not funny, but it's the emotion. And at the time, I felt like umzimba wami wabashushu. My body was so hot inside. I almost felt like I wasn't going to be able to walk. So I didn't get up at that point. And then a lot of stuff happened after that I don't remember, because then it sort of got later in the day, and my dad's body was still lying there. It felt like it was lying there for hours and ages and ages and ages. But dad was probably there for about 2 hours at the time. Yeah. So I heard that the forensics were outside. The forensic people were outside, and they needed to take evidence and shit. So I thought, okay, does a TV kuzothathwa casings, kuzothathwa evidence phansi, so buzu questions and all of that. But what happened that day remains in my head for that day remains, that specific hour remains in my mind, and it's embedded, and I can't stop living it again and again, and it's just there. Got outside, I sat on the bunk on the veranda. So dad's body was outside on the grass, and I was in the yard, but I can see Udada, because if you know how houses, then you know what I mean. So they got there in their white suits, and they uncovered Udada, but it was dark, so I was like, okay, cool, no one can see. I mean, I can see Udada. And they took the first flash picture. If you've ever seen an old movie where the camera just flashes and puts a light on everything, and everything is just clear. I saw 2 bullets in Katata. That's what I can remember. I saw 2 bullets inside my dad's body, 2 bullet holes. And I remember the one bullet hole specifically in his arm. It was right here. I could see right through it. Right through it. I could see from up in Lini right to opposite the next house. I could literally see the next house through that. And that hurt my heart the most when I realized that no man, there was no need for this. There was no need for that. That was the first flash. The second flash I saw is Atlas Kadat. And if you've ever seen a baby sleeping, a baby sleeps in his Atlas Basso. That's exactly how my dad's hands were. And I can see myself now sometimes because that's exactly how his hands were. And I remember seeing his watch and a bangle a traditional bangle, gold or silver, that he used to have on his hand. And then another flash was just a lot of blood. I saw a lot of blood in Udada. I saw a lot of blood on the grass. It was just blood. Everywhere, blood. But I thought, at least with that I can't feel it. I can't feel it anymore. And then it was just flashes and flashes and flashes, and they just kept on taking pictures. And the worst part for me, I don't know if this actually happened, or it's just my memory that's messed up, but I remember them trying to turn over Udata to get another angle of him. So my dad's face was turned around and he was turned towards us at the time. And as much as my dad is my dad, I saw a body and I knew that it had gone. I mean, I knew it a couple of times, but it just kept being reinstated in my head that I get konja, we are born, I get. So what I did in that time, I promised myself that Busi awuzukhala apha, because you know that Utata wouldn't have wanted you to scream phambi kwabantu, especially not with his body just there for everyone to see. And yeah, so I just sat there and I remember looking a little bit to my right, and uThembisile was ebeguqule by the gate, crying for Utata, but Tata uyenza njani le nto? And then someone trying to pull her away as they had done to me, and then someone else saying Nyeke niwayekwa. So I didn't have to do that. And then she said andizukwazi umshiya utata apha kanje, funeke ndihlale naye. And I understood that up until she started crying, and I was like in my head, but Lola sifundiswanga kanje, ndazi kaloku awuzukhala kanje phambi kwabantu. And as I went there to hug her, I took another step back. Ndamyeka ngathi ndasethula. Ndamyeka, she carried on crying. Ndamyeka. The reason why Ndamyeka uThembisile that day is because I remembered that ubungekho Busi kudutyulwa apha. Ubungekho uThembisile vala amehlo katata, ubungekho uThembisile uquma utata yedwa. So let her. This is her time. You are here. So at least siphelelana ngoku. So at least she can let go. So that's where I let it go. Then the next thing I remember is, for the life of me, I can't remember them carrying Udata and putting Udata in the back bag. I just remember Udata. It's almost like the movies, really. But except it happens, well, a slow motion in a movie, but it happens so much slower than that. Bamfaka Udata kule bag nyani. Bayivala ibag. And it was just it was a black bag. Nezip. Yavala izip. Abantu banele mhlophe. Bayivala izip. And I personally will be forever grateful to the people who carried my dad's body, because they carried him with so much dignity. Bamfunqula utata ingathi ngumuntu ogulayo. Bamfaka kula moto ingathi dad is sick, and I was just so grateful to that, because to me ngutata amloa. And if they had handled him in any other way, I feel that would have affected me. So I'm grateful to that as well. So later in that day, I decide that anyway, I might as well do lala no mom. Since, because apparently she had a room, so I guess people supposed that Zila, or people had, I don't know, it was just a general consensus that figure like la room, if you remember Tim, we would figure the lounge of la room. So I slept there because there was space and there was my mom. Yahandilali the first day. I sleep and that was not my first night disotook in the middle of the night. But the feeling that I felt Gokotuka Kwam was different. It felt like I was jolted out of my sleep, like ingathi ngiqali wendaphuma uthongweni or something. Ndothuke kabuhlungu man, yabo. I wake up and I see, oh mama. That's how I would sleep no mama enyanga. So to my mind, okay, sisenyanga ngoku. Remember ndisandovuka. So sisenyanga ngoku, and I just don't know what's going on. So ndiyilaqaze, but no man, akho nje inyanga. These walls are blue. Then I remember that no man, that I had painted a bedroom zethu sonke blue. My favorite color. Ndisendlini apha. Umama usecangwami. That's the first time in my life I remember reminding myself that kanina unadad. That's the first time in my life I had reminded myself, I'd had to remind myself that Busi unadad. I looked at my mom, she was fast asleep. I tried crying as softly as I could. Soft. And then it just got harder and harder and harder and harder until I felt myself screaming for my dad. Because at that very moment I wanted my dad. I knew my mom was there, but so I don't remember what I was saying, but I think that's exactly what I was saying. And it was just me, no mom. I remember mama sitting there. Mama one brush. If you know how you get brushed, how come you right? Someone brushes you on your back. That type of brush. But it was only a few strokes. And then that's the things we don't notice when we are in pain. Because the warning signs were there. But I was in so much pain that I needed someone to mean whatever they had said, whatever they had done to me, that I had taken everything that anyone had done in a genuine sort of way. I'm up. Do you remember Chabu was downstairs at the time, I think. And Chabu comes in. He opened the door. Everything is just so clear in my head. I could literally feel the wind after Chabu had opened the door. I felt the wind on me, and I felt, and I cried louder, trying to just let it all out. Chabu hugged me. Chabu decided that uzoyobi zutembi, because it was always just the three of us, no dad. So now it was just us. So bayobi zutembi, and then Mama says to Chabu Notembi that, andiyazi ndimthini xa enje. Now that seems like a normal statement, ne? But think about it coming from a mother to her own daughter after utata had passed, that andiyazi ndimthini mna xa enje. As much as I was in my feels and my dad had passed and it was the first sort of mourning, I felt that. I felt that Mama said, "Akayazi ba makangithini." And that is the day I started feeling like a burden. Ba abantu abayazi ba mabangithini mina. Mina ndibaxakile abantu. So Thembi comes. She holds me in her lap. And I don't remember where Uchabu was, but I remember feeling him at my feet. And Bebeni Tutuzela and saying stuff to me. And I remember feeling a sort of calm. Not because I was undermining Tutuzela Kukamama, but I felt like So it was more comforting for me. It was more there for me. It was more present for me. It was more nam dase. It was more I understand dase more than andiyazi bandimthini xa enje. I don't know if you have a girl. I remember I was in my sister's lap. She was holding me like a baby. Ujabu and Brashinyawa aphinda abuya zenhloko bethetha ke bencenga, and mom was there. I remember umama esithi kutheni ethula xa ekuni. Kutheni ethula xa ekuni. And I thought to myself, but mama uyandazi nje banthuthuzela njani. Mama ndingowakho nje. Mama uyayazi uba kumele uthini kum wena. Kubhubhe utata ngoku. Uyayazi wena uba kumele uthini kum ngoku. But when a mother utters such words, at that point I hadn't come to the point of disowning my mother, but I had come to realize that umama akandazi. Umama akandazi kwalento angandazi that ndithuthuzela njani. Because everyone knows their own daughter, no matter what. You know your child, you know what to do. Nyani ke, I think I ended up calming down. Guys, stop with the sugar water. Ndingaxelelwanga that gada izinto zikata takho. Ndingaxelelwanga that gada isiblings zakho zingatyi imali katata. Ndathuthuzelwa. And I went back to sleep that day.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Uncomfortable Conversations with myself, Thembisile Khumalo. It was a special feature today featuring Busi. The journey to healing is a very fragile one. As you can see from this episode, it's baby steps forward and giant steps back, but we keep moving forward, holding each other, cuddling each other, cradling each other, till we are in a better place. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Till next time, goodbye.